What is up, everybody? Welcome to the Halftime Snacks podcast. This show features short interviews that you can listen during the halftime of your favorite sports events. Every Tuesday, I host fun conversations with talented people in the sports industry, where we'll learn from their stories, knowledge, and experiences. So go grab your favorite snack and come snack with us. Are you ready? Let's go! I'm excited to introduce and welcome our next guest to the Halftime Snacks. This guest has over 25 years of experience in the telecommunications and IT markets, and he's an expert in digital transformations, growth, and profitability through technology. Today, he's the CEO of LaLiga Tech. This new entity created by LaLiga aims to build and develop the products that will push the sports industry further into a digital transformation. Broadly, the products of LaLiga Tech focus on fan engagement, content enhancement, and competition management. The ecosystem has been used successfully by La Liga and its clubs over the past 5 years. Our guest experience, leadership, and knowledge will make this episode a masterclass around the technology and business side of sports. Ladies and gentlemen, Miguel Ángel Leal.
Hey, thanks a lot for your introduction. I think that you described better than ever in my life who am I and what we want to achieve in this amazing journey that we are building together.
Miguel Ángel, it is an absolute pleasure to host you here on the Halftime Snacks. I'm very happy to have you. Let's kick it off with a fun icebreaker. Miguel, if you could have only one snack during soccer games for the rest of your life, what snack would you choose?
Difficult question because I'm very healthy. Then I think that if this conversation can be listened by my wife, I better not to answer in this case.
You can also say broccoli or some vegetables.
Then,
That's also acceptable.
Then, I love you. Her name is Anna, and I love broccoli for snack.
That's a great answer, Miguel.
In a survival.
I'm very happy that you're here with us today. We're going to be discussing a lot of topics surrounding you and your background, how you fit into La Liga, what is your plan for La Liga Tech, maybe different opportunities and challenges for what you're trying to achieve. But let's kick it off with an interesting question. I want to know what makes you irreplaceable in La Liga Tech. What are some elements from your background? I know you worked at Huawei before and in a few other companies, but what really makes you the leader that is irreplaceable for La Liga Tech?
This is a very good question, and even I ask myself every single day. But I think that the La Liga Tech is a project that has a lot of things in common with my previous experience. First is a pure tech project in which digital transformation is key. Second is a pure B2B project, although for sure that the B2B2C at the end the final goal is the fans, our customers, or the customers of our customers. I've been working for many years in this digital transformation in the B2B, in projects in which you need to grow in addressing a global market. And this is the case, no? And I think that, and there is another company which is very important right now, which is related to the culture of the company that has to be transformed. Because before we were La Liga, we were a very big department, but inside La Liga now we are another company. Then I think that this cultural transformation is another point that is very, very relevant, no? And then I think that for me, even when I was contacted by the headhunter for this process, it was very funny because she was in this case, she was a lady. She was asking me different things, and she was saying, "Okay, it fits perfectly. B2B growth, digital transformation, to challenge a complete change of the culture." And then she asked me, "Do you know what is the sector in which you have to work?" Because at that time I didn't know exactly the name of the company or only that was a B2B project. And I start saying all the different possibilities, industry, finance, all of them. But it was impossible to say sports and entertainment because it was far away from my mindset. No? And when she said with me, I thought, this is my project because in this case, everything fits perfectly. You can work in something that you love. And this is for me something that is the most powerful reason to describe myself as the best one for this, because it's the perfect combination between what I know what to do and what I love. This is for me the key.
And let's talk about that specific, the sports market.
Yeah.
You've worked before in the telecommunications market and IT markets, and probably the customer is a little bit different than the customer in sports, which at the end of the day is mostly the fan, the spectator, the one enjoying the game and the one enjoying the soccer matches and everything. That is like the end product, and probably that is a different customer to understand than in any other market. So what exactly do you think about the sports market as a whole, the fan as a customer, and how is that different from what you've experienced so far before you got into LaLiga Tech?
I think that in this industry, there is something which is very clear. And this is the fact that the digital transformation of the industry, of the sports mainly, is coming later and slower compared with other verticals or other industries. No? And this is something that is a challenge because at the end, for sure, that we need to speed up and to run faster. There is one exception, which is the case of La Liga. Remember that La Liga Tech is the consequence of what La Liga was able to see in advance 7 years ago, no? And when they started this journey. But coming back to your question, for me, this is a pain point. The fact that in general in sports, this transformation is starting later and not so fast as needed. But the clear advantage is the customer. I always share one example that as Miguel Leal, I'm customer of insurance companies, carrier, telecom operators, utilities, but I don't have interest to interact with them at any time. When I need to call my provider of telco, pues I call and I solve the problems or I hire a new solution. But in the case of our business, the customer is called a fan. And that means that that is fantastic because at the end, as fans, they want to interact at any time with you, no? And this is the real difference, and this is what makes this journey so exciting. Because at the end, you have a customer who wants to interact with you, who is expecting touch points between you, your content, and themselves, no? And this is for me the key difference, and this is the real power. Even now, you have that one of the most important solutions that we have is related to our digital ecosystem and how we are able to develop a data-driven strategy around the customer. And there are many big customers here in Spain, in this case, coming from other sectors who wants to know if they can use our experience and our services to engage with their customers and are far away from sports, but they see that maybe they can learn something from our side, in which emotions is part of the foundation of the relationship with the customers, because it's based on emotions and engagement. No? And this is quite interesting and quite is maybe a very interesting business for us out of sports.
Miguel, let's talk about LaLiga Tech. So you came in a few months ago, a fresh CEO with a different perspective and with wide experience in technology and the telecommunications industries. And the first thing that you do, of course, is that you need to assess how things are doing and where are we standing, right? Before we understand where we want to go, we want to understand where we are. What are some of the like main opportunities that you saw right at the beginning when you joined? What about like also competition? Like how competitive do you think is the market as of now? And what are some of the most important priorities for you as a CEO to establish and to to communicate to the people working there to work on that first? So opportunities, the competitive market, and priorities. However you want to answer that question, in whichever order you prefer.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. I think that in terms of when I arrive here, for me, there are different opportunities. The first one is the market itself, because you are not entering in a mature market. In this case, we are addressing a market in which everything is just starting. No, then is the right moment. Second, we have a lot of pros. We can talk later about the portfolio, but we have something that is different compared with our competitors, which is the fact that the pros has been designed by the end customer itself, because at the end, all the products are the result of things that LaLiga wanted to build using technology around fan management, competition management, content enhancement, and then the solutions has been designed and built by one of the biggest end users of this technology. And finally, because at the end, what we want to share with the industry is not only the portfolio, is the experience. What I mean is, when we talk right now with another league, for example, in Latin America or in Europe, we are not sharing always only the portfolio. We are sharing all the journey that we have just not finished, because we never finished, but we started 7 years ago in La Liga, no? And the KPI is the successful of La Liga, no? This weekend, for example, I was in a very important sports event in Spain, talking about Media Coach, which is the tool that we have to be able to offer to all the clubs a lot of data to be more competitive. With the same cost in terms of the football players, you can be much more competitive if you are able to produce more than 3.5 million of data per match, and you are able to move all this data from pure data to information to take decisions about the performance of the players, about the strategy of the game. No? And this is for me the real opportunity. Challenges. I would say that I will share with you something which is a reality right now. We have different solutions. In the case of all the stuff related to how all the broadcaster has to protect the content, we are having a very successful conversion rate. When we start in a pre-sales approach, we move very fast to get the PO. No? We sell. But in the case of the rest of the portfolio, the go-to-market has been very successful. Many customers, many clubs, many different leagues, not only this sport, even other totally different, are talking to us. We are building a lot of pipeline, but it's not so easy to finish the process. And not because we have competitors, that we have for sure, because the real competitor is if at the end the league or the club decides to go ahead or not, or to do nothing. Then this, I have the feeling that we have some lack of maturity, and this is a step that we yes must do in the sports, which is I have to spend a percentage of my budget in digital transformation, is something that still has to be evolved. For me, this is I have, or in our particular case, we have different strategies to cover this gap, to close the gap, and I'm very, very competitive. I think that I cannot share because many competitors will be maybe here listening to the podcast, but I think that we will be able to solve this issue and maybe to start working in a similar stage that other competitors will work in 3 years, because we have different solutions to solve this gap. And I would say that this is more or less the summary about how I see the business. No? We have other challenges. For example, we have in some cases a portfolio which is defined by a very big customer, and we want to cover not only very big customers like LaLiga. We need to address other leagues in which we have a different capability or budget to spend. No? But I think that we are adapting the journey together with our customer, and this, no, we can start with the journey, and we can grow as fast as any customer, every customer will decide.
In your mind, from your experience, how much time does it take for a company such as LaLiga Tech to really cover that market that you're really trying to achieve? Not only, as you mentioned, La Liga, but smaller markets and with different types of budgets as well. What is the roadmap in terms of time that you think that La Liga Tech requires to really amass and cover that specific market?
Well, I think that the market is very big, and the speed, it will depend on every customer. No, then it depends. We see how, for example, based on the geographies, you see that there is a clear difference based on the size of the market itself, or the club, or the league, or the sport. Then I think that there is no, let's say, standard progression, and there are many different factors that are impacting. But for me, my target right now is not to have 10 very big customers with a lot of. No. For me, the strategy is to capture many different customers, maybe with a very entry-level solution, and to start growing together. This is more or less the strategy. And for this, right now, we are ready, because take into account that most of the cases we are selling SaaS, software as a service, or we are selling services like all the fan activation strategy, you know. And then the distance is not the problem. And apart from this, we are LaLiga Tech, but we have La Liga as part of our stakeholders. And then we have all the capabilities, for example, that La Liga Global Network is offering to us, which is the ability to have people talking about La Liga Tech in any country worldwide, because the same people who is dealing with the broadcasters, with the sponsors in any country worldwide, is the same one that has to share the value proposition of La Liga Tech in front of all the potential customers. Then I think that we are ready. For sure that internally we have to spend this year with this cultural transformation of the people, because now we have to change many things. But I think that we expect to grow every year, and I think that I don't see any limit in 10 years' time, for sure. And there is one important message that always our president share with everybody, which is why we do this. What I mean is, you can say, okay, La Liga did an excellent job regarding the transformation in the last years, and this is a clear competitive advantage for La Liga. No, why La Liga decides to share all this technology and to share all this knowledge with the market. It's not related to the money that they can get, because for sure that compared with the money coming from the content, this is the real money. But from La Liga side, we are convinced that we need to support the industry, to make the industry as digital as possible, because at the end everything is moving, the fan is changing, the way that they want to interact is totally different, and you can only do that if you put and you share with all the industry or your capabilities, and I think this is a strategic decision that is very, very good for all of us, sure. And even we are talking with, let's say, what we could consider competitors of La Liga, and there is no problem at all.
Yeah, what I'm the way I'm perceiving this strategy, and correct me if I'm wrong, but it's kind of like what also the Web3, the future of the internet is trying to propose. Being more open source, being sharing the technology with everyone, and also in a way it's more of like collaborating with others to improve the technology so that the ecosystem improves itself. So it's not really based on what we get and that we monopolize the digital sector of sports, but it's more like an open project that will altogether will move the industry forward. So I love that. Miguel, let's talk about one of the pillars of LaLiga Tech, which is fan engagement. Very relevant topic for you guys. What do you think? You and me, we have in common that we are fans. We enjoy the content, the soccer, the game. Probably you also have a team. I'm a Barca fan. But we want to feel more engaged with the game. We want to feel more part of the game. We want to feel like we are part of the club and the decisions made. So what types of opportunities do you see for fan engagement from La Liga Tech's perspective? Solutions that you are thinking about or that La Liga Tech is thinking about for to develop, or what are some of the other challenges that you can maybe think about fan engagement for this specific sector in La Liga Tech?
Yes, let me give you one example. You talking about fan engagement. First of all, what I have to do is to learn from you and to listen from you, because at the end it's the only way to offer to you what you are expecting. Okay, and for this is the first message that we share always with our potential B2B customers. Imagine that we are talking about a league in Asia, no? Okay, we go there and we ask always the question: do you know who are your fans? Do you know what they expect, what they want? And they say, okay, no. Why? Because, okay, yes, I have some, let's say, digital assets or digital channels that I use to interact with them. But at the end, for example, I have something for gaming, like a fantasy. I have an app. Maybe I have some content in the OTT. But these three solutions, okay, are producing data, but in an isolated way. Okay. Then at the end, I'm not addressing the fan as a unique person, no matter where he is touching me. Okay, with the OTT, with the app, or with the fantasy. And then what we propose is, okay, let's do something. Let's analyze these assets that you have right now, because all these assets are producing data, and then let's integrate all this data in a global digital platform in which we're able to identify that Miguel is now interacting in the OTT, now he's interacting in the app, or blah, blah. And with this, you can start, let's say, doing what we call the fan 360 degrees, which is who you are, what you want, what's your behavior, and what you expect. And with this, the next step is to establish a one-to-one relationship with you. But for this, I need to know that you love Barca, that you are living in some part of the United States, that you love podcasts, And this is the strategy. And then for this, you have different approaches. But at the end, the goal is to see how first I can know more than you, and I can deliver what you expect in a pure one-to-one approach. And in this, you can use all the different technologies. I think that right now the problem is not the technology. There is a lot of technology, but first you need to use the technology as a B2B company in the right way. And what we see is that many people, many companies, many clubs, many leagues, many broadcasters, they have a lot of different digital assets, but they are not using them in the right way to maximize the fan engagement. This is what we want to do.
And how that relates to the type of content that you guys produce. Is content in a way a tool that is used to understand more about the fan and what he likes and what he enjoys, meaning that it's like, it's, I'm not gonna say it's a trap, but it's probably something that you leave out there for him to consume. And if he consumes, then we understand that he likes X specific content, and that probably can be related to other touch points, as you mentioned. So
Yeah.
is content a way in which a tool that you guys use to understand your content, your fans better?
Yeah, sure. Because we are measuring, we can measure everything. Then we can measure. It depends on the type of content. We can measure if the age, female, male, if this content is being consumed by a fan of a Barca or another. Then at the end, you need to be able to offer a content specifically designed by this specific fan. For example, if you love football, as I see, maybe you are a follower of Barca, maybe when you want to have a look at a summary of a match between Barca and another club, maybe you are able to spend 10 minutes, okay, with this summary, but not in the case of another match of La Liga. Then we need to produce different content based on what you want. And this is more or less the approach. Then different ways to produce different contents using different ways to address you, but knowing in advance what you are expecting. This is more or less the summary.
And let's talk about, lastly, about one of the other pillars of LaLiga Tech, competition management, which is really digitizing every key process of the business to make yourself more competitor. It can be, you know, business intelligence, or using specific apps for logistics or finance or calendars to improve the way you guys manage the processes. I'm gonna call this the back end of La Liga, right? Is the administration and management of La Liga. How important do you think this is, and also how well do you think the industry is standing compared, of course, to your experience in other industries? How well do you think the industry is taking this as a priority and working towards improving competition management as a whole?
Yes, you described very well, no, as the back end, no. Yes, I think that La Liga did a very good job in the last years developing solutions in order to improve, let's say, the workflow, no, of the competition itself. No, I think that the workflow of maybe of sports is not so complex, maybe compared with other verticals. No, that means that in this case, I think that this activity has to be covered, but it's not so complex compared with other verticals. But for sure that there are some specific solutions that offer a lot of value. For example, what we call our calendar selector. Okay, we don't decide when we have to schedule every match every week. It's something that has been decided based off an artificial intelligence. It's something that takes into consideration a lot of different data coming from a lot of different sources, like not only the audience. For example, something like what is the position of the sun? Because at the end, if you want to offer a good experience for you when you are consuming the content, you need to take into account that depending on where is the sun located in every stadium, okay, your experience will be good or not. No, then there is a lot of information, and it's a good example that how with this technology and using, in this case, all the data plus algorithms based of artificial intelligence, you can improve the quality of the content. No? It's quite interesting. No? It's one of the three elements, and for sure that has to be taken into account.
Yeah, absolutely. Is there any specific pillar that you would add? We talked about fan engagement. We talked also about content and about competition management, or the back end. Is there one more that you would add there, or that you'd like to add, and maybe you are thinking about adding in the next upcoming years? Anything else that you'd like to implement, or that you see that the future of technology is moving towards that, and that should also become a pillar eventually, or that you're probably working as a side element and maybe just integrate it at the end to one of the other areas? Is there something that you're thinking about?
Yeah, I think that, as you mentioned, the pillars are very clear. It's related to the content, how you can enhance the content, how you can protect the content. Second, how you can increase the engagement with your customer, with the fan engagement. Third, how you can improve the process of the competition itself. And in the core is how you can work with data. This is the key, no? The four pillars. Then I think that we can continue improving all these different pillars based on different solutions, and in all the cases you will have some common features, which is more interactivity, a one-to-one approach, user experience for sure, always. And I think that we have, in order to offer the best ever experience for you guys at the end of that are fans of this, no, world of sports.
Well,
Sure.
Miguel, I have to say that it's good to hear, and it's good to see that you are the one driving the disruption. I'm very confident, and I can't wait to see what's going to happen with LaLiga Tech in the next couple of years. Looking forward to it. I can't live without asking you a more personal question, Miguel, and that is, who is someone you admire and why?
Oh, it's very easy to answer. It's my father, because he was always smiling. He was always with a very positive attitude. He was always looking for the next step, never give up, and always trying to to do the journey with more and more friends around. This is my example. This is what I try.
Thank you very much for tuning in. If you enjoyed this episode, hit the subscribe button and leave a review on Apple Podcasts. If you enjoy learning about the business and technology behind sports, make sure you subscribe to the Sports Tech Biz newsletter. I'll leave the link in the show notes. See you all next week. Bye bye.